I've known Paulette for a number of years. She is originally from London. She served as the director of all Unity Ministries for the United Kingdom for a number of years, including our Silent Unity there. She was guided to move to the United States and be part of our Unity headquarters in Lee Summit, Missouri, where she then took over the entire retreat department. She has since moved on in her own ministry with a ministry called Touching the Stillness. She's the keeper of the flame for a number of organizations, meaning that people recognize she has spent so much time in prayer and in dedication. She is the real deal. She is the hollow bone. She is that reflecting the divine. This year in June of 2023, she was awarded from the entire Unity movement what's called the Myrtle Fillmore Award for her. Yeah. For her impact on the entire movement internationally. And we are so blessed to have her with us today from Lee Summit, Missouri. Would you please welcome the Reverend Paulette Pipe. I love you.
Good morning. Happy homecoming weekend. I'm so blessed to have been invited to be part of this experience that's been going on. The concert on Friday was phenomenal. And then yesterday we had a really interesting and joy-filled day. And here we are. Thank you so much for inviting me. I was saying to Reverend Darlene today, this has been 20 years or more in the making, because we met when she entered seminary back in 2002, and I was getting ready to leave, having concluded my seminary training. And we've been weaving this dance, come to my church, let's do this thing together. And then she keeps moving. She moved out of Maui before I got there. But here I am by divine appointment. This is the right and perfect time. This is the right and perfect community. And you are the ones that have called me forth. And I say yes to Spirit and yes to you. And let's do this thing. So my talk today is called The Uncommon Prescription. The Uncommon Prescription. And Reverend Darlene just mentioned that you're doing this book study, Living a Committed Life with Lynn Twist. And so when I got this idea to bring this talk today, it feels like it's akin, like there's a tie-in with what you're going to be doing in your book study and what I am going to be inviting you into today. I want to begin by bringing to your attention that the daily word today is together. Well, on that note, I think I should share a little bit of it. Together, the presence of God unites us as we work, play, and pray together. Joining with others to work makes the job easier. Joining together for fun multiplies the enjoyment. The camaraderie, cooperation, and support of togetherness gives me a boost and brightens my mood. The indwelling Christ presence is alive in all people everywhere. When I work, play, or pray with others, something greater than the sum of our individual efforts and insights results. The divine love that binds us multiplies as we recognize it in one another and give it fuller expression in ourselves. Work becomes more productive, play more enjoyable, yay, juicy living retreat team. Work becomes more productive, play becomes more enjoyable, and prayer more fulfilling. Together, we produce more good work and feel more joy and happiness than any of us could accomplish on our own. And then from the book of Matthew, chapter 18, verse 20, it says, For where 2 or 3 are gathered in my name, I am there among them. Together. So there are no accidents that we come together on this day. And I bring with me a challenge for all of you to join me. It begins with a story about a young woman who, in her early 30s, was working in a very challenging job, was very stressed. And so when she had these different symptoms come up, and every time she went to the doctor, they would say, oh, it's stress-related. But a month after her wedding to her then husband, Mark, they came up with a diagnosis of multiple sclerosis. I think she was about 33 at the time. Her disease progressed rapidly, and 2 years after her diagnosis, she could hardly walk. She'd lost the vision in one eye, was experiencing chronic insomnia, and had become addicted to a cocktail of prescription drugs. Because what would happen is she'd have a symptom, go to the ER, they'd give her medication, and this happened on an ongoing basis until she was taking all these prescriptions that her new neurologist was saying, we don't know if you're reacting to the medication or if these are your MS symptoms. So I want you to go in for an 8-day detox. Detox all the prescription medication, and then we can start again and see what's what. Well, part of her symptoms was also being depressed. So the night before she was supposed to go into the hospital for the detox, she was in a really low state and decided to call her mentor and friend, a spiritual advisor who was also a South African healer, Mbali, so that they could talk, so that Mbali could soothe and offer some solace. But really what she was looking for was someone to collude with, because she was always angry and mad at the world. And she thought if she called Mbali, then, you know, they could have a good old pity party and really, you know, complain about everything together, and she'd have someone's sympathy. But what she got instead was advice that she didn't ask for, didn't want, and almost repelled. She was annoyed and surprised when her friend Mbali urged her to stop thinking about herself, stop dwelling on her pain, get a grip. Those are my words, but Mbali's sentiment. So let me just share with you an excerpt from the book, 29 Gifts, A Month of Giving Can Change Your Life, that tells the story of that night. Mbali says to her, if you spend all of your time and energy focusing on your pain, you're feeding your disease. You're making it worse by putting all your attention there. Cami says, oh, I didn't tell you her name. Her name is Cami Walker. And she says, I absorb this information quietly. Cami, Mbali says, in her soft voice, soothing, but words hitting me hard. You are falling deeper and deeper into a black hole. I'm going to give you a tool to help dig yourself out. What should I do? Cami asked. I have a prescription for you. I want you to give away 29 gifts for 29 days. I blink and consider this for a moment before deciding it's stupid. For one thing, I'm going into the hospital for 8 days. How am I going to give anything away there? There will be others at the hospital with you, Mbali counters. You can give to them. These gifts don't have to be material things. I continue to insist that I need to focus all my energy on my own healing, while Mbali calmly points out what I'm forgetting. Healing doesn't happen in a vacuum, Cami, but through our interactions with other people. By giving, you are focusing on what you have to offer others, inviting more abundance into your life, And giving of any kind is taking a positive action that begins the process of change. It will shift your energy for life. Cami writes, I'm starting to tune out, wallowing in thoughts of what I'm about to endure. I'm in pain and I can't freaking walk, and you're telling me to give away some spare change or do someone a favor, and that will make me better. Come on. So Mbali goes on to tell her how the 29 gifts works, that you give away a gift every day for 29 days. You journal on what you gave and what happened as a result. And if you happen to miss a day, then it's best to start again because you can rebuild the energy. And all this while, Cami's like tuned out because she thinks it's stupid. She says, now, I've been into alternative medicine and spirituality for a long time, but even I have no patience for all of this. And I'm in the midst of a medical crisis. Without any intention of following through, I grab my journal and write a note. Give away 29 gifts for 29 days. I close the journal and politely say goodnight to Mbali. So she goes into the hospital, she has her treatment, and it doesn't really help her situation, especially the insomnia that continues. And she continues to have spiraling nights of, going down the rabbit hole. And one night she gets up and decides to journal because she's feeling like, let's go back for another pity party, shall we? And she picks up her journal and it falls open to that page. Give away 29 gifts for 29 days. So she thought about it and decided, well, what have I got to lose? And so she did. She found many ways in the next 29 days to give away a gift. Sometimes it's small as a glass of water or a tissue or a listening ear, whatever it needed to be. And then she noticed that because she wasn't focusing on herself the whole time, and this was giving her an opportunity to think about others, that she could feel different in her body and how she was reacting to her husband and not taking it out on him, and how she was with other people, and she was in a support group, and instead of sitting there feeling sorry for herself, was listening, engaging, and trying to be supportive. It really did change her life. So she did the first 29 days and saw such an immediate difference that she continued for another 29 days. And out of that, family and friends started to join her because they could see the physical difference in her and her mood and her demeanor and how she was showing up. So they joined her. And then she put it online and invited other people to join her until she had like thousands of people checking in on this website to share what their gifts were, where they shared it, and what was happening in their lives. And then Cami says that she writes this in the conclusion of the book, one of the biggest differences I see in my life today is that people tell me they love me several times a day. And I tell them that I love them too. A year ago, I was in too much pain to allow love to be part of the picture. What had changed for Cami? Through these acts of kindness, this giving practice, Cami activated the healing power of love and kindled connections, the connections that bring us together. And by giving thought to another, people she may have previously have ignored were blessed by her presence, by her attention, by her consciousness. I'm saddened to say that I just recently found out that Cami actually passed away during the pandemic. I haven't met her before, but I used to have a podcast on Unity Online Radio for about 10 years, actually. One of my favorite things, one of the things that brought me joy. Anyway, don't let me get into that now. Because on a Tuesday when I did my show, I'd be so excited. I'd be sizzling and with zeal and enthusiasm. Anyway, so I did have Cami on the show, and she shared, and we talked about it. And I told her how I had practiced this too. So I was really sad to hear that she had passed away. But she's left a legacy. She left a legacy for me and all those thousands of people that engaged in the challenge. So like I said, I did it, so I'm not going to be asking you to do anything that I'm not doing, because I am going to be asking you to consider to engage in this challenge, to give away a gift every day for 29 days. And it doesn't have to be like Barley had told Cami, it doesn't have to be a big deal, it doesn't have to be a big thing, I mean, it doesn't have to be your inheritance or anything like that. Although, while time, money, and objects are recommended, she also says that we should try to give away one thing we think we can't live without. That will really call us higher, won't it? So, as I said, I did the 29-day gifts, and I just want to share with you some of the things that I did. It might spark some ideas for you. I was going to do a speaking engagement out of town, and I was having a prosperity challenge, let's put it that way. So I was really looking forward to receiving my honorarium to help meet some of the budget bills. So I needed to put gas in my car, and I had just enough to put gas in the car to get to the speaking engagement. And I didn't know what to give that day. I really didn't know what to give on that particular day. And so I was inspired to use half the money to fill my tank, and then I went inside to the gas station and asked them to put the rest of the money on the pump so that the person behind me could use it. The associate at the desk was completely confused and had no idea what I was trying to say, what I was trying to ask them to do, because it was like, what? Not just the accent, but what rubbish is she talking right now? But anyway, we got there in the end and put the money on the tank so that somebody could use it behind me. And do you know I got blessed? Well, you know that because you're Unity people, but I got blessed that Sunday, and whatever money I had put on the pump came back multiplied, pressed down, shaken together, and running over like it does. I also did obvious things like, you know, buy the coffee for the person behind you, pay the toll for the person behind you. And then I went to see my spiritual director, and I took one of my CDs and asked her to give it to one of her clients that would come in and need it, would find benefit and blessing from a meditation CD with the voice. And then there was this, during my first go-around, it was February, so it was really cold, and I live in Kansas City, Missouri, or one of the suburbs, where we have ice storms. And on one of those days when I was doing the 29 days of giving, we had an ice storm where I couldn't even get out the house. It was like an ice rink. So I looked out the window. I can't get out. I don't know how to give my gift today. What am I going to do? Because I don't want to start again. I mean, there are no 29 gifts police, but I'm doing so well so far. What am I going to do? So then I thought about it, and I thought, well, there's an ice storm, and my mail carrier is going to show up anyway. Whether it's an ice storm, whether it's sunshine, heat wave, they show up. So I had an idea, and I thought, I'll go in and I'll write a thank you note. Thank you for showing up, come rain, come shine. And then I put on my blanket, my jacket, my coat, my hat, my boots, my socks, whatever it takes. And I inched my way tentatively to the mailbox that's across the street to go and tape my letter on my door, the door of my drawer, so that they would receive it and see it. And the next time I saw her when she pulled up in the van, she was so grateful. And it made me feel, I mean, I didn't do it for accolades, which is one of the things, we're not doing it to get recognized, to like pat ourselves on the back, how great I am at giving. It's not about that. But it was like, I had to think about somebody else. How many times I sat and thought that my mail carrier is going to show up come rain, come shine? I probably wouldn't have thought of that if I didn't know what gift to give that day. So that was one of the things I did. And then the other thing, I wrote another note, and this time it was to the owner of my dealership. Because when I took my car in, they took such good care of me. Sometimes you can be vulnerable as a woman taking your car to a dealership when you don't know what you're doing and they take advantage of that and rip you off. You ladies know what I'm talking about. What does this gadget do? What does this thing do? Oh, you need to replace that. I was just asking. But sometimes I would say, do I need to change this? Do I need to take this action? And they're like, no, we'll take care of it. We'll tell you when. And they just took such good care. So I wrote to the owner and I explained, because he's not hands-on day to day, and I explained this was my experience with his dealership and his staff, and I wanted to thank him and thank them. He called me, and he said, the only time I hear from customers are when they're calling to complain. So thank you. So you see the power of this? They were just small things. They didn't really cost me much other than a postage stamp in some cases, but the impact is priceless. Thank you. So part of the uncommon prescription is expressing gratitude, and that's one of the reasons why we journal through the process, to help us to focus on what's going well, which is what Mbali was trying to get Cami to do through her process. She was not saying rather that this was not happening, that she should bury her head in the sand and pretend that she's not in pain, that this is not a dire diagnosis. But see if you can focus on something that's going well as well. Which reminds me of one of the questions that came up in our situation yesterday in our workshop, where I asked that difficult question. Have you ever thought of a time, can you think of a time in your life when you were going through something that was so challenging, so tough, you couldn't really abide with it at the time, and yet at the other end of it, you see and receive a gift? And that was Cami's experience, that was my experience. And so that's about what gets watered grows. What we put our energy into and our attention on expands. And so going through this 29-day gifts giving process can help us in whatever situation or circumstance we are in. In Philippians 4, verse 8 in the Bible, it says, whatsoever things are true, whatsoever things are honorable, whatsoever things are just, whatsoever things are pure, whatsoever things are lovely, whatsoever things are of good report, if there be any virtue and if there be any praise, think on these things. What gets watered grows. So let me briefly just tell you, if you're going to join me in engaging in 29 days of giving for 29 days, here are some helpful tips that you can make this uncommon prescription a success and a healing treatment for yourselves. Not necessarily just physical healing, but emotional, psychological, financial, familial. Notice your intention. Watch what you're giving away and notice if you're doing it from a place that's draining your energy. Try not to do it from a place of bartering or some other ulterior motive. You know, like, if I give, I'm good and I'll be rewarded. Mm-hmm. Or out of obligation. Oh, I have to give because it is expected, and Reverend Paulette's going to call me and check to see if I gave something away. Or out of guilt, that idea that if I don't give, I'll have bad karma. Ooh. Try not to give begrudgingly. He's got new shoes on. He doesn't need anything from me. He's got enough. Or resentment. I suppose I'd better give because it's day 15, even though I just spent $300 fixing the brakes on the car. And try not to give from a place of people-pleasing, trying to get attention, score brownie points. That's not what this is about. This is a mindfulness practice. You're mindful of what it is you have and what you can give from, that place you can give from. You're being mindful of blessing the gift before you share it. And this is not about being perfect. Practice makes progress. So you just do what you can every day. And if you slip up, hey, no big deal. Just give double the next day or start again, as Mbali had encouraged Cami to do. But keep it simple. Aim to give a simple gift. Your gift doesn't have to be material, as she said to her. It doesn't have to be monumental to count. And you might even notice that the simple gifts feel even more powerful than the big, grand gestures. So, that's my invitation to you today, to give away 29 gifts for 29 days as a mindfulness, gratitude, evolving practice. And most importantly, I want you to remember this. If you remember nothing else I've said today, and I mean this with the most sincerity, okay? I want you to remember that you and you and you and you and you are the gift. The greatest gift you have to give is that of your own transformation. And that's from the philosopher Lao Tzu. So now we're going to take this idea of giving and receiving into today's meditation. Will you join me?
Richard.
So I invite you to begin by adjusting your position in your seat. Make any micro adjustments that you need in order to be totally relaxed. Allow your feet to make contact with the ground. Wiggle your toes in your shoes, which sends a signal to the soles of your feet to let go, and your ankles to soften, and your knees and thighs to unclench, and your seat to also let go and sink more deeply into the chair. Soften your torso. Allow your shoulders to drip down from your ears. Allow your eyes to sink more deeply into their socket. Your eyelids relax, your brow softens, the back of your head and the crown of your head let go. Notice if there's anywhere in your body where you're still holding tension. Or maybe there are thoughts scrolling across your mind, trying to come up with an idea for 29 gifts, or no, this isn't for me, I don't know what she's talking about. Whatever that is, whatever your response is to the invitation, I give all the time. I don't have to do that. I've got too much going on. I wonder what's for lunch. This is natural and normal, but as soon as you notice that you're following the thoughts, bring your mind back to the breath. As soon as you notice you're feeling sleepy or inert, bring your attention back to the breath. And that breath is deep from the belly. We breathe in, and the belly pushes out. We pause, and as we exhale, a slow, deliberate, full exhalation, the belly draws back towards the spine, the wall behind us. That's the depth of breath we're aiming for, and that's the breath we return to with every distraction. So breathe that breath now into the core of your being. Allow your attention to move from head to heart so we can catch the vision through our willingness and our intention. So we can create a vibrational field through which ideas and suggestions can filter into our awareness, into our heart, into our psyche, for what is ours to give. But it's not coming from the intellect, it's coming from the heart. And now we enter into that space, that place of stillness and silence, where Holy Spirit works, moves, transforms, inspires, and uplifts. So breathe in, breathe out, as we rest momentarily, open, receptive, and responsive to Spirit in the stillness of the silence. In the silence. Allow your next breath to submerge you more deeply into the stillness, and listen and wait. In this space of stillness, we connect heart to heart. We are brought together in our togetherness that is of God. We are united in our holy purpose. And it is from this place of stillness that I offer this blessing to this spiritual community, Unity of the Blue Ridge, and its minister, leadership, board, congregants, volunteers, those who are seeking a spiritual sanctuary but not yet found it, those whose shoulders we stand on today after 74 years. Our online community, all people, all those who've been blessed and continue to be blessed. Unity of the Blue Ridge is a spiritual sanctuary of peace, a safe haven for the soul. It is a radiating light, emitting light, a vibration, an energy out into the world that calls and magnifies unto itself those who are seeking a place like this to be healed, to be uplifted, to know their divinity and to connect with the divine of their heart. The doors are open, hearts are open, the welcome is wide and genuine. Those who come are blessed, healed, sanctified, inspired to serve, to share, to be an example of light that we are, to express and experience joy that is innate. There is a welcome mat on the door that says, "Come hither." No matter your race, your culture, your orientation, the balance in your bank, come. We welcome you. The doors are open. We receive you. And we receive your gift as we welcome you into this circle, into this sanctuary, into this community. You have a contribution to make, and we respect and honor your gift by receiving it. And we have a gift to share with you and invite you to receive our gift, for God has dealt graciously with us and our community. Come, hither, we call you now. And to the leadership and Reverend Darlene and all those who support this community to keep it in integrity, to keep it strong, to keep it as a beacon on a hill that calls forth those unto itself that are like itself, and those who do not even know that this is the entity, the energy within them that wants to coalesce and wants to come into divine order with what is happening here. We give thanks for your strength, for your wisdom, for your guidance, for your clarity, for your authenticity and integrity that makes this all happen, makes this all possible through the God's wisdom power that flows in, through, and around you. We give thanks for the angels of this community. We give thanks for the angels above, below, to the left, to the right, in front, behind. We give thanks for the ground on which we stand, this holy, sacred ground, and its ancestors that make this possible. Thank you for those who created this community that we now can benefit from. We are grateful, God in our being, for this opportunity to be of service, to be an open door, to be a community of love. Take a breath with me and exhale. From this place of gratitude, we allow these words to go forth, manifest, spring, and blossom where they have been sent and seeded. For these words are not void. They are power and might and manifest now for the good of the whole and for the harm of none, for the success, the prosperity, and the forward movement of this community, Unity of the Blue Ridge. And so it is, and so we allow it to be right here and right now. Amen, amen, amen. May you be blessed. May you receive this gift from the divine. Namaste.